Well, today, of course, it's the town meeting that is trying to accomplish a complete cooperation of the entire community to get behind the move that we in Garland should have a single-member district. We have already the support of all the political clubs here in Garland, both Democrats, Republicans, and many, many independents. We hope that we'll have a big showing here and that we really expect one.
Mr. Keith, if you get the support from the city that you anticipate, what are you going to do with it?
Well, the first move will be to appear before the subcommittee on redistricting Friday in the Central Jury Room in Dallas. Following that, we'll continue the effort, possibly with a caravan to Austin, and any effort that we can make to bring our message before the state legislature until such time as the redistricting is complete.
Well, we wanted to give the Vietnamese an idea of what Christian family life is like in many different areas. And we have them in our home in Mineral Wells, but we wanted to bring them over here to Dallas and let them see the church and the American families here.
And of course, Mr. Vinther, they decided to use your church, Walnut Hill Church of Christ. How did you get involved?
Jim here and my son were friends, business partners even in college. And he asked me if I could make arrangements to have a class sponsor them here.
This gentleman is in charge of the group, more or less. This is Nguyen Win Key, Sergeant. And what do you think of American life, Sergeant?
Oh, that's the, I haven't any done instead, but I know how to live instead. Instead, your life is very hard, you work so hard, not look like in my country, you have to spend more spare time instead, that's all.
You have more spare time here?
Oh, yeah.
If they require you to put in a kitchen and remodel your club, why, of course, that's going to hurt worse than the guest portion of Rule 56.
Has the ABC implicated that they will enforce the food rule stricter in the future?
They said they were going to enforce it, but they haven't spelled out what they would accept as yet.
Very simple. All of us are seeking satisfaction through relationships, but most of us aren't satisfied because we seek those relationships in sensory gratifications instead of our relationship with God. Well, the only real relationship with God is loving God. In this age of darkness that we're presently in, only chanting, singing, and dancing for the Lord is the best and most efficacious way of loving Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Have you found that Dallas has accepted this group?
Dallas is very dissatisfied. Everybody, the youth especially of Dallas, are searching very much for Krishna, and they seem to have found him here.
Are you getting new members today?
very many. All these people that attend this festival are guaranteed a human birth, their next incarnation.
It was an unheralded move, not even on the council agenda, but Fort Worth Finance Director Roger Line was chosen acting city manager this morning. According to some councilmen, the city fathers had hoped to avoid appointing a temporary manager to replace Howard McMahon, who quit early this month. But they say there's just too much to be done at City Hall to go along with an extended vacancy in the manager's office. Naturally, Line is in a touchy position. There's the possibility that he won't even be in the job after the elections, but he's got the full powers of the position now. Because of that, he really can't formulate any new policies or long-term plans for the city, but he's still expected to be decisive. Line denies that his is a caretaker administration.
And through my professional experience, this has been the goal that I've been pointing to for quite a number of years.
Provided there's no change of heart in the new council after the municipal elections, Line can start moving his personal files into the manager's office and quit knocking on the door when he wants to go in. But until then, he's hesitating to take out any magazine subscriptions addressed to Roger Line, City Manager. Jay Lewis, Channel 8 News on the Move, Fort Worth.
The association does favor a time reduction. Of course, we know there are limits, but we would be willing to work with the company on a time reduction.
What are the problems involved in a reduction?
The problem, I guess, for the company would be mainly in staffing individual basis to adjust personnel as a result of no reduction, say, in one base, but a large reduction in another.
Have you explored any other possibilities? Are there any other solutions being offered?
We have explored even allowing pilots on one base to absorb the economic penalty within that base, which we kind of felt like was a little bit unjust to just that group of people. And there are others that we ran into in long discussions, but didn't come up with a real workable solution, and didn't receive any real response from the company when we discussed it with them.
About the pilots who are scheduled to be furloughed, do you see any solution for them in the near future?
I could only speculate. Barring an economic upturn for the airlines, I would say that the immediate future doesn't look real good.
To bring the water back to each dam so that we'll have a continuous body of water throughout this 8-mile stretch of the river.
While Fort Worth is busily getting it all together to build its downtown lake by means of check dams, Dallas still sits here with a partially dry floodplain right next to the downtown area. As long ago as 1968, the Greater Dallas Planning Council and the Dallas chapter of the American Institute of Architects proposed a somewhat ambitious town lake project with concessions, bridges, dams, the whole works, right here in downtown Dallas. Where is that program now? Well, I talked to Keith Kolb of the American Institute of Architects in Dallas for a progress report on Dallas's town lake.
The town lake project is currently still in one of the committees of the Dallas chapter of the AIA, and it has been included in the Springer report, and other than that, not much is really happening with it. The Advanced Planning Committee of the City of Dallas Planning Department does use it as reference from time to time.
Does the city seem in the town lake project?
That's hard to say. I think a lot of people have expressed an interest in having a lake like this. Perhaps it's a matter that not too many people are aware of the status of the controls that are being placed on the Trinity River, and are not aware that it's fairly imminent, and therefore that the town lake project could be a reality within the next few years.
Dallas architect Keith Kolb says in the coming year the AIA will try to enlist support in Dallas, perhaps even from the city of Dallas, to get a lake right here in the floodplain and put boating and water skiing in downtown Dallas. Phil Reynolds, Channel 8 News on the Move.
Well, of course, rates, quite naturally, has to be based on investment. I know of no other way that you can price a product without what it costs you to produce the service. And in the independent area, they do serve predominantly the rural areas, and the investment cost per customer served quite naturally would be higher than in the highly concentrated metropolitan areas.
There's talk in Austin, again, of creating a statewide regulatory commission, specifically for telephones, but other utilities too, possibly. How do the independents feel about this?
Well, I think, generally speaking, from the independent standpoint, for the most part, the independents, as I mentioned, have served the smaller areas. The real need of a statewide regulatory commission hasn't been proven, because the independents have worked closely with their local regulatory bodies, and we feel that they have done a very efficient job of regulating telephone rates.
Coach, you were able to utilize the high draft selection you had this year to get what is a natural choice in Archie Manning. New Orleans, for the past several years, has not had that advantage of the high draft position. Are you still hampered by the trades that were taking place in the early part of the club's history?
No, I don't think so. Not now. We had all of our choices this year. What we didn't have of our own, we managed to be able to trade for and get choices in that area. For example, we did not have our own second choice. However, we did make a trade in order to get a second choice, and a high one at that. So we had 21 choices this year.
You know, there's so many philosophies as to how to build a ball club. George Allen, I guess, is the advocate of the one theory that's most publicized in that respect of going with the veterans and trading away your draft choices. Coach Landry here in Dallas is just the opposite, building with the draft. Where do you fall in between those two philosophies?
Well, I hope to build with the draft. This is Coach Landry did here. You know, we've actually got we're a 5-year-old club now. This is going into our 5th year, and yet we're not really much further ahead than a first-year club. But we will have a lot of young people this year, and we'll have a lot of first-year men, second, and third-year men playing. Naturally speaking, there will be some veterans also. However, how many, I don't know, and it may not even be a large nucleus.
supply you with lists of people.
But why haven't you done that weeks ago?
That's not dealing with no problem.
Why isn't it?
You know,
we'll know who to go to then. I might myself personally feel 100 of those people.
Could I send people to you all who were coming to us? And you said no.
Well, you just come here talking in generalities, and you don't tell us who these people are. How do we know who needs help? How to help them? How to go about helping?
Do you think I know 136,000 families in the city?
Well, somebody has made a survey, apparently, to determine that there are 136,000
Do you think I know 136,000 people personally in the city?
Not you personally, but I'm sure your group does, apparently does.
Yo, I'm sure they ain't coming to you.
We both want to do something about it, but I think our hands are tied until you tell us how we can do it, or where the people are.
I think we've told you how you can do it.
Not that I can understand.
I don't think it's a matter of your hands being tied. I think it's a matter of you being indifferent to the truth.
In a signed statement to officers, a defendant stated that a man that was known as Thomas Rodriguez delivered narcotics to Guzman and Lopez in the defendant's presence in exchange for 2 of the slain officers' guns and $50. Thursday, an undercover effort was made to purchase the 2 slain officers' guns, as we knew they were available for sale, and with the expectation of recovering the weapons and leading to the arrest of the suspects for which we were looking. Another defendant in this case has furnished a description that matches that of Thomas Rodriguez and witnessed the gun trade for 2 grams of heroin. The defendant did not wait to see the deal consummated, but took the stuff and got a fix.
Lord said, come in the hop of booze. He was walking through the forest called Dry Booze, pointing him standing and dancing. The Lord was so cold that he was able to get the trees to sway and dance. Here comes the Lord now.
Does not issue an official invitation, but we do not in any wise bar our students from informal and open discussion. I don't know whether Mr. Schaefer will be accepting Phil Martin's invitation or not. If he does, I will not deny the use of a meeting room at Perkins. It should be clear that granting of a meeting room is in no wise an endorsement of Mr. Schaefer's position or in any wise a criticism, implied or otherwise, of the proceedings of the hearing in San Antonio.